Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 50th episode of Tales of Tamriel. This is going to be a big episode this week, like really big. In case you didn't know, I'm Aggelos, your host this afternoon, and I did actually want to say it's kind of neat, and I thought about this. Tomorrow, which is January 26th, is 1 year ago tomorrow we recorded episode 1 of Tales of Tamriel. It was live on the 27th because I always do a day between. But yes, 1 year ago tomorrow is our 1 year anniversary since our first episode. So yay!
Happy
Been going for
anniversary.
happy anniversary to us. Yes. Um, it's been a great year. Oh my goodness, it's been so good. And yeah, it's I don't even know what else to say. So, all right, well, today I'm losing all my words here. Today we have some guests with us today. You probably heard one of them on there, and you may know her from around the interwebs as the nicest person in the world. That's right, that is Eloa. How are you today, Eloa?
I'm very fine, but you're exaggerating. It's becoming a big rumor. Deltia said off the internet, not the world.
That's true. She's not Mother Teresa yet.
Not Mother Teresa yet. Okay, all right. And that other voice you heard, yes, that is right. The man running the stream and the guy who just went out and bought a PS4, so now he has two ESO accounts. That is Deltia of Deltia's Gaming. How are you today, good sir?
It's a good day to be alive.
Excellent. And Thais, she will be joining us shortly. We have a special plan today for the dramatic reading, which will be a lot of fun. So sit tight, and when we get to that, it'll be great. I did want to say, though, first off, that this episode is brought to you in part by generous donations of several members, one of them being Alexander S. He donated to us like a week or two ago. And since we didn't have internet at all last week, which was rough, trust me, I did want to say thank you so much to him for his donation. And so glad that we're able to provide you with shows that help you get through your day. I also actually want to take the time to say a big thank you to the community as a whole. As most of you guys know, after the news that came out this week, we had made a decision to discontinue this podcast. And I explained this on Reddit and a few other places. And, this wasn't really a knee-jerk reaction from us. We had made our stance clear before in past episodes, anytime we talked about free-to-play or buy-to-play. Most recently, we did so in episode 48. So when the news came out for us, this was more of a resigned decision, going, yeah, this is what we're going to do. However, we got so many messages, phone calls, emails, Reddit messages, tweets from fans all over the place, all very supportive and wanting us to, keep the show going and see how it goes. And honestly, because of the overwhelming reaction that we got, that's why we're keeping the show going. I know I myself, I wasn't really planning on stopping playing, but I was going to kind of go into lurking mode and watch. But we decided now that we'll keep the podcast rolling, and we will continue to bring you news and our gameplay until ZOS either fails to uphold the amazing standard that they have so far, or they completely prove me wrong, in which case then I will eat my words. I'm fine with this, though. But I do want to say thank you so much to all the loyal fans. You guys make all this worth it. We love you guys. You're the best. So, all right, let's go ahead and we're going to move right into game news. There was a lot of game news this week. We have about 2 weeks worth of game news. So I'm going to kind of skip over some of it, or just briefly touch on it because we have a big discussion topic today. So first off, there were 2 Loremaster archives this week, which are Loremaster Archive Reman II, The Limits of Ambition, as well as Loremaster's Archive Trail and Tide. If you're interested in checking out either one of these, Loremaster's Archive Reman II, I read this like 2 weeks ago when it came out. This is really cool because it talks about Reman II and the decline of the Second Empire. It's a really neat book. Other than the fact that the book was written by High King Emmerich and no one really likes him. So, that's how it goes. But if you want to check it out, it is on the official Elder Scrolls Online page. You really should. Have either of you two read this one or seen it, Loa?
I've not seen it, but I'm a little bit shocked. No one like King Emmerich. I find him wholesome. For King Emmerich! For the Daggerfall Covenant!
I forgot we have a Daggerfall Covenant person on the show today, so yeah. I actually like the Daggerfall Covenant though, so it's okay. I mean, I like him better than AD, so yeah. How about, I know Deltia, you probably didn't read it, but did you see it come through, or did you read it?
I haven't had the chance to read it, though. I am a fan of King Emmerich and the Daggerfall story. It's one of my favorites of the three faction story, if not my favorite. So I may check it out later, but I've been busy with doing a lot of different things. I redid my site and so on, so that took a lot of my time.
Absolutely. I do like the Daggerfall Covenant story. Honestly, it's probably one of my favorites too, and I'm Ebonheart packed, so yeah, it is pretty good. The next one though, Loremaster Archive, Trail and Tide, they bring in Moon Bishop Hanal, so apparently it's a Khajiit, and it actually talks about the Khajiit and a little bit about them. So if you want to check that one out as well, that is there. We do normally read those, but we got a lot of news, so we're not going to do that today. Next up on the guild or game news, this one's actually kind of neat. And I did want to do a shout out, but the guild Hodor got the world first Serpent speed run achievement last week, I think it was. So congrats to them. They actually took a screenshot of it. That's pretty neat. Deltia, how close are you guys?
Infinitely far away.
Infinitely far away.
For them to get a 33-minute time in Serpent Trial, that's just mind-blowing good. I mean, that's just incredible to get that time down.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible.
I think their final time was 31 minutes, 59 seconds.
Well, now what do they have to do for 9 months? Oh, wait.
Well, we'll talk about that shortly. Yeah. But that is what it is. I mean, congrats to them. They've been, I think, if I remember correctly, I think they have almost every world first achievement for speed runs and clears.
They are the PvE guild, hands down. They are the PvE guild to beat.
It cracks me up every time I see Hodor, though. His Game of Thrones cracks me up.
They are from Europe or from North America? I don't remember.
I think they're from the EU, to be honest.
Yeah, I thought they were European too.
Yeah, I thought they were. I know they were at the Guild Summit though. They participated in one of those competitions for like Hellra or something. So
yeah,
that congrats to them, man. That's an awesome achievement. Awesome, because Serpent's not easy, and getting the speed run, that is impressive. All right, for those who probably been living under a rock, I don't know why you would, but they did actually release an ESO patch 1.5.8, which is just an incremental patch that addressed a variety of outstanding issues surrounding gameplay, dungeons, and quests. And in an effort to improve performance in Cyrodiil, they have this was funny part of the note. They have escorted all deer, torch bugs to greener pastures. So all the deer and torch bugs are no longer in Cyrodiil. So that's sad. I mean, I get why they would have done it, because that's less things you have to render, and who really cares about deer and torch bugs, because they're not like monsters you gain experience off of. They don't give you anything good. Some random, I guess, meat and the insect parts. But yeah, so they're gone. Delta, you've been playing a lot in Cyrodiil. Have you noticed any performance increase from this? I mean, I'm sure it would probably be minuscule, but
I'd never really had performance issues, only when sieging the keep. But
Hmm.
some other things to think about why this is a good thing is because when you're off like fighting a 2v1 or 2v2 or something, you might accidentally target the deer instead of a player. And so your 1000 damage crystal frags hits a deer instead of someone you're fighting. So it's actually a good improvement. And the performance is probably minuscule at best, but they're trying to do everything they can. Personally, I've seen a lot better performance when sieging keeps and going through with all the oil and animations. I don't think it's probably due to that, but it's probably due to the cap size being smaller.
Sure. Aloha, do you participate in Cyrodiil PvP at all?
Not in PvP, but in fishing. That's what I did just before the show with my guild that is currently in the chat room. Hello to them.
Oh, well, hello. So you
And
guys
we
had
were,
good performance while fishing in Cyrodiil, I hope.
oh yeah, very good
Oh,
performance.
excellent.
But those little bees were making some life from the side of a non-PvPer in Cyrodiil. It's a little bit a sad decision.
And
But we are not
you,
the most important customer in Cyrodiil, so it's okay.
I was gonna say all the fishers in Cyrodiil are revolting because what happens if you run out of bait? You can't run and grab insect parts from the torch bugs anymore. Now what?
Exactly.
Oh, so they, so this is breaking news for anyone not listening. ZeniMax hates fishing and has nerfed it hardcore in Cyrodiil. So that sucks. No, it is neat that they did it, but I hope they can get performance up, especially with the console release coming up in the next couple months. They probably want to get that as steady as humanly possible. All right, next little bit of news, and this one's kind of neat. And with the expected surge of new players coming, they have updated the Coldharbour tutorial coming in 1.6. Gina hopped on the forums. This would have been January 12th. I have the post saying that yes, there will be some revisions to the existing tutorial in Coldharbour in Update 6. The goal is to make sure new players feel more comfortable and confident with their characters after leaving Coldharbour. Some of the things we've touched on are the basic combat skills, which will be covered in more detail. You can try lock picking to learn the mechanics, and Lyris will guide you through some more areas, etc., etc. So I know during one of the live streams, I can't remember which one it was that they did, that they showed off some of the new tutorial. I'm actually kind of excited to go through and do a tutorial change, go through and make a character and run through the tutorial because it actually looks really neat. I know they showed an image of Lyris getting sucked into the prison, and the way that they did it, it looks more dramatic now. It looks really neat. Did you guys see that during? I think it was the.
It was a famous live stream.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was the. I think it was the special ESO live that they
Yes,
did.
yes, it was a special one, and they showed that for the console release, and so it was with the console interface, I think. But I think it's really great, especially for the lockpicking part, because I remember during the beta, and I've played the beta a lot, I was so bad with lockpicking. I couldn't manage to do it, and there was nothing to prepare us. So it was it's a great improvement to have done that.
Yeah, I know that was something where when even I hopped into the beta, you weren't giving any idea of how to actually do lockpicking. And if you played Elder Scrolls games in the past, every iteration of lockpicking that they release in every game is different. Between Morrowind's version, which was just a dice roll system, to Oblivion's system, which was terrible unless you played on a console. Tried doing it with a mouse and keyboard, it was awful. And Skyrim, which was probably most PC players' favorite one, and then ESO, which I actually prefer. But when you first hop in, you have to sit there and look at it, go, how do we do? You had to kind of figure it out on your own, which I kind of like. But new players are used to being handheld, I guess. it anything to teach players things that they need to know before actually getting out there is a good thing. So, because some people get frustrated over the simplest things and failing to do a lockpick while they're out in the world, they lose it, and some new player comes out and jumps in right after because If you fail to unlock a chest, you're locked out of doing it again for so many seconds, and another player can swoop in and get it. And that, I think that's a kind of a petty reason to quit, but people have been known to quit over less. So, yeah, awesome. I'm assuming we'll see some guides from Deltia over there. Am I correct for the new player experience?
I already did a Coldharbour guide.
Really? Updated for 1.6? I didn't. I thought
No,
one.
I did just the one right now that
Okay.
like how you start the game, how you fix your UI, how do you
You do know you're gonna have to change that though in what next week when the PTS gets updated with 1.6?
Well, they're just adding more things. It's not going to detract from what I added. So, I don't think it'll be I think it'll be just more to do, but my explanation of how to play the game is still going to be the same. So,
Okay. I'm just trying to make you do more work.
there's plenty to do.
Right. All right. Moving on to the next little bit of news. Speaking of guides from Deltia, if you guys didn't notice, one of the best experience grinds in Craglorn, if you had a duo partner, I can't pronounce the name, I'm sorry, it's a Dwemer ruin right outside of the main city that you start in. That experience grind was nerfed by about 4 times, I guess it was. It was nerfed really hard. Pretty much after 1.58 dropped, I started seeing messages on Reddit and some other places going, hey, is it just me or am I not getting near the amount of experience that I was before? We got several reports from people all over the place going that, yeah, they were originally getting around 21,000 experience per circuit that you ran. And after 1.58 dropped, you were getting roughly around 2K. So they nerfed that really hard. Delty, did you experience any of that?
I got an email about 5 seconds after the server went live saying that it was nerfed, and it's just a terrible idea. Terrible idea. I mean, there's nowhere to level up fast in this game anymore. Yes, there's Spellscar, but it's so packed, there's no efficient way to level up. And I firmly believe that every game needs to have a grind. Not everyone wants to do this story. Players should be allowed to play the game the way they want to. If you want to go sit in a Dwemer, dungeon or delve for 50 hours and level your character up, go for it, especially those that have alts. I don't think it was hurting anyone. I don't think it was an exploit, and I'm really disappointed this got nerfed. I think it's a terrible decision. And now, with the champion system, this is phase 1. They're not getting rid of VR levels, so you're still going to have to deal with the VR crap for the conceivable future, if not 9 more months. So for them to remove it, it's baffling to me. It pisses me off. It's like, do you want people to get to endgame? Do you really want them to do 300 hours of quest to reach the end game? Because this is an MMO. People want to get there fast, especially if they've played, like me, maybe picked the wrong race, maybe picked the wrong class that wasn't for them. Now, good luck, go spend another 300 hours. People are likely to quit. And I hate this change.
All right. Aloha, what are your thoughts on this? Did you actually ever use any of these grinds, or do you know people who did?
No, the grinds now, I'm too low level, and it's not at all in my mentality to grind. Not because I find it bad to do it, but because I don't find it fun at all. And for me to be able to grind, I need to have a very huge motivation, and I will not have that. I don't think it's. I don't really have an opinion about that. I don't think that. To be honest, I don't really have an opinion. Sorry.
Okay. No, that's fine. I mean, if you didn't actually use it, then it wasn't a big deal. I mean, for me on my first characters and stuff like that, I enjoyed leveling just by running around. I listened to all the people, quest givers, talk to everyone, do all the quests. I do all that stuff. But like Delty said, so the thing where even in Skyrim, when I play Skyrim, after I've done a quest, I tend to spacebar through the because I already know and I have a really good memory. So I'm like, yeah, I know exactly what you're going to say. I know what my motivation is to help you. Like I know the story. The first time I'll sit and listen to it, but later times I skip through it. And if you've seen any of my little Let's Plays and stuff that I've done on our YouTube page, I played an Ebonheart Pact character again. I was skipping through quest text because I've already done it. I'm not gonna waste, 30 hours of leveling by sitting and listening to every single word when I've already done the quest. I already know the story. And some people don't even want to do that because questing is obviously not the best way to level in this game. Well, it wasn't. It might be now. It's just and some people don't mind grinding. You get a friend, you go grind, you put something on Netflix or Hulu or something like that. You sit there and do that. I know Thais, for instance, she's not in the room at the moment, but when she was playing her little free-to-play games, which I always laughed at her for, because they were like one-button skills and kill everything on the map. She would do that for hours. She'd put something on the TV and she'd sit there and watch and just sit there and spam the same skill. And I'm like, what are you doing? Oh, I'm leveling up my character. Well, okay, that's interesting. But some people like grinding. I mean, technically speaking, I like grinding because I've been grinding Dwemer for months now. But yeah, I don't know why they would have nerfed this either, because unlike Spellscar and things of that nature, where you can kind of just run and do it, I mean, it's helpful to get a group, but if you can do it by yourself, you get better experience anyway. This one, you at least needed another person to reset the place. So, I mean, I don't know why they would remove it. It encouraged grouping, which is something they always have a hard enough time trying to do in this game anyway.
I know why they removed it. Champion system.
Yeah.
Because you would have, that would be the best way to play the game. That would be the best way to gain experience.
Yeah, that's what Guidan is saying in the chat.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. That's the thing with a champion system in general. They seem to be nerfing so many experience gains because they're trying to prepare for the champion system coming out, but it really does hurt people who are trying to level, like myself still. And I think Elloa, because I think Elloa might be higher than me now, but I know we're both not maxed yet. So, yeah, I don't know. That's kind of rough.
But, they're going to find ways to exploit the champion system until we figure it out. Because, I mean, unless they make bosses and trials like 10 billion experience, doing grinds will be the fastest way to level up your character in the future. So they have to watch out for that, because you want to make trials and dungeons and stuff like that still relevant. So if you spend an hour in a dungeon, you would hypothetically be better off than spending an hour doing quests, because you have to take more people. It's harder, that sort of thing. If they don't get it right, it's going to be like grinding is the only way to get champion points, and then a waste of your time is to do dungeons. So it's a really fine balance they have to hit. Otherwise, people that are min-maxers, they're not going to do anything else but do that.
Sure. Yeah, it's definitely, like you said, but the problem is with this is it may come later, because you need that metric data to go, okay, the average clear of X dungeon is 15 minutes. All right. So in 15 minutes, then they need to take that and go, well, in 15 minutes of grinding mobs should earn you X experience, which is the average it takes.
Well, they already have that data. They've already had the dungeon ends for a year. They know how long people are doing it. What they don't know is equating that to the champion points. I assume they would have to do this measurement before, because it would be a huge gaffe if they did not address that. Because if you want people to play trials, you have to have incentive for them to do it. And especially if champion points are going to slowly add power over time, I'm not going to be doing it if I could just kill 15 mobs and get the same amount as doing the Serpent trial.
Well, I will say this, Deltia. As much as we love ZeniMax, you say they probably should have fixed this before patch goes live. When has that ever stopped them in the past?
Oh,
releasing something.
It won't. It won't. That's what I'm saying. It's like it will be screwed up, and I will find a way to exploit the crap out of it. Now, I'm gonna tell you it, ZeniMax. I will tell you the bug fixes and stuff like that, but it's on you to fix it. Don't blame the players for finding the fastest way to gain champion points, because if you do not listen to your feedback on the patches, this will happen.
Right. Well, I mean, they've said that before, where other people were saying in beta they found builds and stuff that were just broken. I remember watching, I think it was a special podcast episode from Tamriel Foundry that you were on, that they were talking about bugs that ZeniMax hasn't fixed, even though that we've reported it extensively during beta and during PTS, and they just didn't fix it. So
No
yeah,
more excuses for this one.
yeah, none. All right, that was an interesting little discussion. We're gonna move on to the next little bit. Moving in and taking over Deltia's spot yet again to update 6 guides to prepare people on the official Elder Scrolls page, the champion system, and the provisioning uh, guides are now available on the official Elder Scrolls Online page. I find them to be nice overviews, but that's about it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you had no idea what the champion system is, like you have no idea whatsoever, I think reading this would be beneficial before jumping into like a guide from Deltia or anything on like Tamriel Foundry, because Tamriel Foundry and Deltia, they're going to dig in and do more advanced level stuff. This is your introduction to, so you know some of the terms, some of the concepts, how it works before you get thrown into an advanced guide going, if you do 10 points here, it'll give you so much percentage over this. Yeah. You don't want to be sitting there sucking your thumb on the corner, like crying because you don't understand. So it's a nice little guide. Got nice little graphs. Um, yeah, I like
I
it.
think it. I think it's better that the official guides are not too extensive, so it
Hmm.
allows space to the specialist and the fine guide. And also, it doesn't bombard some players with too much information or too deep information. Because for some players, it's not interesting to know all the theory crafting behind everything. And some players also want to ignore it because they like to discover it in game by themselves. So what's official on the website need to be the minimum information required to understand the system. And if you want more information, then you go to deltagaming.com or another website of that kind.
No, not another
Sure.
website, my site.
No other website, just Deltia's. And as Hulk said in chat, I'm personally more excited about provisioning than champion system. I'm excited for provisioning, but I'm gonna go on a little rant here because I do. You guys know me. I love the lore of this game, and I know they're going to be shrinking down the amount of materials. In a way, I don't like this because I like complicated systems. Like I really do. I hate when they dumb things down so much. This was my big beef with Warcraft. Aloha, you'll know this as well with
Yeah.
warlords and stuff like that. Certain things that they dumb down to make it easier. Yes, it does make it easier, such as gear changing to your spec no matter what it is, or removing a bunch of stats so you don't need to worry about hit cap anymore and things like that to make the game easier to grasp is great for new players, but players who sit there and have been playing it for a while hate when it gets shrunk down. And I personally don't like it. But even by shrinking it down, I'm fine with that as long as they keep the lore specific things. And the reason why I say is because they were talking about when they first talked about the provisioning system, they were talking about, oh, we're just going to change it. There's not going to be, Concord grapes anymore. White, it's just going to be grapes. It's just going to be berries. Well, there's certain things that were kind of like lore staples or just like little things from the other games, like juniper berries were like huge in Skyrim. I pick them all the time. Snowberries, I want them to stay because they were in past Elder Scrolls games, and if they just become berries, I will be upset because I like, even though snowberries and juniper are worthless as it currently is, I still like getting them because it's like I remember picking these in Skyrim. That's awesome. And if they just change it to be very generic, I will be upset. But
But isn't it the change that you need berries for the recipe, but you can find different kind of berries in the environment?
yeah, I mean that is the reason why. It's like great, I have 800 white grapes, but I needed, Concord grapes kind of thing that people are like, yeah, it's but I think a lot of the problem stemmed from the way that they developed the provisioning system in the first place. because items you got were level range specific. So if you needed, if you play on Ebonheart Pack, for instance, Sujama berries and stuff like that are only available in the Dishan region because they're like level 20-ish region. Once you're outside of that region, they don't give them to you anymore. Like you can't find them. They were only in that area. Um, and I assume it's something similar for AD and crud Daggerfall Covenant. But there were the way they had it is it was just kind of messed up. You go like, oh, I need apples, but apples are only in the 1 to 5 zones, wherever they are. But now it's going to be, if it looks like an apple, it's an apple no matter where it's at. You can get beef no matter where it's at, as long as it's, you kill a cow, you're getting beef. Something along those lines that make it a little bit more logical. You'd open crates and go, oh, they, are bags of flour that looked like flour. Instead of getting milled flour, you would get like beef. And it's like, why? Until you opened it. Now they're changing it so that it's more logical. If it looks like it's got apples in there, it's got apples in there. Which
I
is,
think
Oh, go ahead.
it's better to do that way.
Mm-hmm. It's logical.
I found honestly the cooking. I never tried it or the provisioning because it felt too much hassle and too much boredom, especially in inventory management. And I tried several times, and several times I went discouraged and I abandoned it. So I think that to synthesize it a bit like that, even if you lose a bit of flavor, I don't think it will be being down the system, but more simplified, so it's more efficient and not something boring, because that's important. If it's not fun, then it's pointless. It needs to stay fun.
Yeah.
I hope they will find a good medium, but yeah.
It definitely needs to be fun. It doesn't need to be rough. But a couple things from chat. Win-own stealth is Justice on PTS yet? Update 6 is supposed to hit, I guess, probably this week, probably Monday. Is that right, Deltia? I think they were saying it's probably going to be this week.
Yeah, I suspect tomorrow morning around 7.
Yeah, so tomorrow morning, the update 6, which is Justice and Champion and all these changes will be on there.
That's hypothetical. That's hypothetical.
Hypothetical. Essentially, Gummy Dragon is a little French because she has a French accent.
She's Belgian.
I don't know.
She's a Belgian waffle.
Yes, I am.
Awesome. And Tamriel Drifter, convenience isn't necessarily fun in MMOs. And I sort of agree with him because especially when the justice system comes out, when materials are harder to get, I liked having a wider range. Because let's face it, onions, pepper, things like that had a good value to them.
Yeah, but I mean, provisioning sucks because it's not necessarily because of the fun. You got to look at the min-maxers and everyone. What's the point in it? You get some VR5 food that gives you some buffs. Yeah, but it's not hard to get that. What they need to make champions to make provisioning relevant is legendary mats you can only get from high-level PvE or PvP. Make it legendary food that gives you maybe 50 more stats or something like that, so that you have to actually do top-end stuff to get the top-end gear, to get the top-end passes or whatever. That would make provisioning fun for me. Otherwise, there's no incentive for me to go pick barrels over and over and over because I have enough money. I can buy that stuff super cheap. So what's the point in provisioning? Removing items and stuff? Great. But does it make it even more powerful? Nope. Will I do it? Nope.
They need to put...
Oh, go ahead, Aloha.
They need to put super rare spice in trials or something like that. You have the super chili pepper in the serpent trial.
That's it. That's exactly it. Because they need rare crafting ingredients in dungeons and specifically trials. Otherwise, no incentive to play.
I will agree with you on that, but not consumables. That's something to me that consumable items like this, you're supposed to have lots of. They're not supposed to be super hard to farm because it's consumable. You need a bunch of them. I do agree with you on rare items from dungeons and raids for crafting to make gear that... See, I always thought when the crafting came out, and they're like, crafting would be equivalent It should be, but there should be a crafting endgame where they have to go and try to get rare drops to make endgame gear, that's equivalent to trials and dungeons and stuff, but they didn't. But yeah, consumables, I can't agree with the two of you on consumable stuff, but the other, blacksmithing, woodworking, and clothing, absolutely. All right, well, that was a rabbit trail that talked about provisioning guides. But yeah, if you want to check out those guides, check them out on the official Elder Scrolls page. Next up, Battlemaster Corner of the Berserker. This one was released this week, and it is a two-handed Khajiit Nightblade. Ooh. Two-handed Khajiit, or not two-handed Khajiit, but two-handed Nightblades I hear are pretty rough right now.
What do you mean by rough?
Like, not rough like that, but I mean like they're powerhouses. I don't know if they're specifically the best.
Dual wield is really good, but a bow two-hander combo is really nice for executing.
Because actually, yeah, they have two-handed, and no, this is a dual two-handed weapon building. I have issues with these because when you have two of the same weapon, unless you're like a tank or something, if you're a DPS, two of especially a melee weapon makes it rough because there's certain fights where you just can't get near the boss.
Yeah, you need a bow.
Yeah, you need to have a ranged op. That's how I feel. Personally, I feel like you need to have, as we talked about before, a time on target. If you, for some odd reason, that you need to be out of melee range, which does happen, such as, what is it? I was trying to think of the one dungeon we were doing the one day. I can't remember what it is, but it's essentially a giant ash titan that you fight, and he summons a bunch of adds that kind of heal him, so you have to jump off of him. He also puts fire on the ground all over the place, so it's very hard as a melee you have to jump back and forth. It's almost easier to have a bow so you can switch to kill the adds very quickly with a bow and then go back to melee to beat the boss if that's how you want to play. But having two melee makes it very, very rough because even with critical charge and critical rush, you run through fire, you still take damage. So charging through fire still hurts. Not always the best way of doing it. Deltia, what do you think about the build?
Well, I mean, 200 Nightblade Khajiit, you got melee crit, so Nightblade's a really good racial choice. And I like it for my execution bar, but I'm more of a bow fan. Now, dual wield is actually the highest DPS in the game, a dual wield Dragon Knight. So dual wield is probably the better of the two if you already have an execute on your bar for like impale. But I just wouldn't go double weapons anything unless I'm the tank. But that's just me.
Okay. Understandable. I mean, it is what it is. Do you like two-handed weapons on any of your builds, Eloa?
Nope.
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 I love my two-hander. Love it.
Never use it.
Oh well, it is what it is. I do. I like the build. I would probably try something like this, but I can't say I'd go to great swords or to whatever two-handed weapons. I need a bow or, well, obviously if you're stamina, bow's your only option. There's just needs to be something else. I like my range. All right, final bit of news we're going to cover today, and this was kind of neat. The cinematic trailer 3 Fates was released alongside of the news that we're going to talk about in our discussion topic, and this kind of puts an end to the series of cinematic trailers that we saw starting all the way back, oh my goodness, when they first announced it or teased it at like E3 or something like that, like 3-4 years ago. But they finally ended the entire series, and they actually did like a supercut which had all of them in there. It's pretty epic. I thought it was awesome. Eloa, did you see the supercut for all the trailers?
Yes, I know. No, I didn't watch the supercut in one shot because this week I've been too busy to check all thread on forum to follow all discussion. This took most of my time, and I just watched the ending, and it was really great indeed, and a bit mysterious in the end. You don't really know what's happening with the Nord, which looked more like a Redguard in the end. I find, but that's because of the light. Okay. It's very beautiful. Someone said, and I find this opinion quite relevant, that those cinematic are not really related to what's happening in the Elder Scrolls Online. They don't really show what's this game. That yes, you have Money Marco, yes, you have the White Citadel, but the three guys are a bit not so iconic about what's really happening in the game. Do you imagine they have made cinematic with Darian Gauthier, Rajendar, and I don't know what you can find on the Ebon Heart. It will have been a little bit more epic.
Oh, okay.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
heroes that you actually knew. Probably that. Thace, what is that girl that you like? The Dunmer Morid Tong girl. You don't remember her name? I can't remember her name, but she's pretty big in the
Narius?
Ebonheart fans, huh? Not are you or
Not
something like that? Yeah, she's a big fan among the Ebonheart is the Morid Tong girl, the assassin. She's interesting. She's very interesting. I like her a lot. Albeit my in-game crush actually is the what is the vampire girl?
Oh yeah,
She's in Daggerfall Covenant, the vampire girl who's in love with
it's Gwen.
Gwen. I love Gwen. She's I love her, but she loves someone else. That's how it goes. I guess yeah. Albeit if you guys remember a few weeks ago, I also said I had another crush, which happened to be another vampire girl. It was one of the Montclair daughters when you saw her.
Oh yeah, but that was in the
Because
mean
she was
one.
all seductive laying there on the bed. It's like, ooh.
Yeah.
So I understand the cinematic trailer itself is very epic and very cool to watch, but you feel very disconnected from the characters because you don't really know who they are. They're just someone. Albeit
Yeah.
I know that Loa, you probably have it like downloaded permanently if there was a Darian in there or Jakarn.
Uh,
They used to be the same
Fine.
way. How about you, Delty? Did you watch the trailers?
I did. I thought it was. I mean, it's a trailer, but they needed to highlight the champion system. Two dudes fighting. Cool. It looks great. I mean, I love it. But like, you need to get excited about 1.6. You need to get excited about consoles. I'd rather have something that highlighted the new consoles in a way that would demonstrate why you should be excited about 1.6. I think it was a terrible time to release that because people, two random guys fighting that we don't know, great. Or you could show off some new cool gameplay, dungeons, gear, and stuff like that, which they did later. I think that's a much more valuable waste to use your resources, getting people hyped up for the next content. Look what World of Warcraft does. When they do Warlords of Dremnar or whatever, what was their thing about? It was hyping that up. It wasn't just some random fight.
I don't know. Their announcement trailer at BlizzCon was one of these. Grosh going through the dark portal, kind of. See, that's the thing. Some other games, I think, but Blizzard is notorious for using trailers like this that show nothing of the gameplay. And to be 100, I'm going to say this: I believe this entire trailer was done at one time. I believe it wasn't like they did part of it and then they came back to the same company. I think they just did it all as a major feature and then split it up for whatever they're released. So they had a plan going, okay, we're going to release this part when the game comes out, these ones to tease up, because they released the Siege when the game came out for PC. So now they
Yeah.
released the last part when the consoles are coming out with the console announcement. Thaís, what about you? Did you see the whole trailer?
I did.
Did you like it?
I loved it.
And as Delty says, as much as I like gameplay as well, but I don't mind that being separate. I got hyped for this just because I thought it was epic. Going, oh, that is so cool.
I was always a fan of the WoW cinematic trailers too. It doesn't really show much of the game, but when you watch it, you're like, oh, I can't wait to play.
Yeah, right. The cinematic trailers. What was it? The one of our favorites was Siege of Orgrimmar when Garrosh is just walking and everything's exploding, and you're just like, oh, he's so amazing, even though he's
Yes.
bad. it really showed nothing of what the raid was going to be like at
Didn't matter.
all. But it was just the hype of going, I hate that guy, I'm going to take him down, that you were like, oh, that's cool. I think that was the whole idea here. They kind of highlighted Mana Marco as the main kind of bad guy. And
Even he looks pretty amazing in the trailer.
oh, yeah, he
He
does.
kind of made me root for him a little bit, which made me sad.
That's a little rough.
Yeah.
He is bad.
I know.
He is an Altmer, too.
It's gross. So many reasons to want to hate him.
Necromancer, Altmer. I mean, he's just bad all around.
Yeah, but that's what the trailer did.
I see. All right.
And
Awesome.
what is happened to the North at the end?
It looks like he was stuck in Coldharbour. Kind of like...
Okay.
I have a feeling that this entire trailer, in theory, if you look at a timeline, took place before our heroes escaped Coldharbour. Because that's kind of what it led up to. I feel like this whole trailer, if they were able... I would have think they would have released the entire trailer if they were able to release those at the same time as the PC. Like, this would have been the day one launch, not the siege. Because it kind of ends off as he's stuck in Coldharbour. Well, isn't that kind of where we are at the very start? It shows our our sacrifice. And by the time that we escape Coldharbour in the game, he's already kind of, in charge, running around. He's essentially ruling the Imperial City. Like he is, using the Thorn Daughter, the Regent or whatever, as like a puppet. Like he's really the one pulling the strings. So the way all of that leads together seems to fit into where the game starts. Where this ends is where the game actually, when we wake up in the prison in Coldharbour. So I think we as PC players are just a little disjointed about the whole thing, because we've seen the first couple parts that were, hype trailers and stuff like that, but they separated out because of consoles. I don't know. That's how I feel.
From a artistic point of view, it's still amazing. I was really impressed by the way the Nord were spitting and, I don't know, just making little movement before to enter in the fights. It was very realistic. You see that the technology have evolved so much. So some guys even ask it, what's the name of the actress which is playing the Altmer or the Bosmer or whatever.
Well, as a feat of engineering, just as programming and animation, you know how many hours it takes to probably choreograph those fight scenes? Like from a programming point of view? I would really be interested to see how long it took the company that made this, how many man hours they invested in this trailer. Because it's a 23-minute long trailer. That's a short film, Like even the masters of animation, like Pixar and stuff like that, the amount of man hours for like a 10-minute short feature is immense. So it is definitely cool. All right, guys. Well, that's going to end our game news for this week. We did have a lot, and I know we did have a lot because we didn't have a show last week due to our internet outage. But now we're going to move on to the discussion topic, which is, I'm sure, what most people are here to listen to. In case you were living under a rock, I guess it was the 17th, they announced that the Elder Scrolls Online is that we got an official console release date, which is June 23rd, I think. Delta, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I feel
The
like
console is the 9th.
9 June. Yeah.
9th. Why am I thinking 23rd? I don't know. June 9th is the console release. And with that is the transition from a pay-to-play subscription model to a buy-to-play model where you simply buy the box and you have full access to the game, everything that it has up until 1.6. And any new content that comes out becomes DLC that you can purchase afterwards, or you can subscribe to their ESO Plus, which allows you to retain a subscription, and you no longer need to buy DLC as it comes out. It's just available for you. And an introduction of a full-blown cash shop called the Crown Store. First thing I want to do here is let's take 3 minutes each, and I want each of you guys to tell me what you thought when this was first announced. I'll go first, and then Thais, Aloha, and Deltia. I will say the first the first news I actually got of this was from Deltia. He sent me a text message like a second it happened. I'm sitting there at work, and I got a text message from Deltia going, "ESO just announced buy to play." My heart sank. I mean, it really did. It like even though from our past episodes, which we talked about, we kind of saw the writing on the wall, and people were like, "No, what you guys are saying." I really wished I was wrong, but I wasn't. That we were kind of blowing it out of proportion. The removal of the 6-month subscription fee. Yeah, I was hoping I was, but all those things pointed to no. Well, that was kind of hanging over me like a big cloud for a while, and then when I got the message that they officially announced that they went buy to play, my heart sank. And honestly, as I said earlier in the show, we had made a decision not to continue the podcast at that point and previous, and that's really what I was feeling. It took a lot of the community to come together, and they were encouraging me, as you will, because I was pretty depressed the entire day. I called Thais from the car. I was all upset. I was practically in tears. I'm not even lying. I was. I had some other people, Sunny Black from Twitter. We've been talking back and forth. When I stopped responding to her at night, she started frantically sending me text messages because I wasn't responding to her anymore. So, like, people were kind of afraid I slit my wrist or something, I think. But that's kind of how I felt about the whole thing. And I mean, I immediately watched the ESO live. That as soon as they announced it, they're like, "We got to do an ESO live at like noon today." I sat there and I watched the whole thing. I didn't sign into Twitch chat because I was afraid of what I was going to say, so I stayed offline, but I did watch. And I wasn't overly convinced about what they were saying. Like, I felt like what they were saying was almost forced. Like, they didn't really want to do it. They had Pete Hines there from Bethesda. I mean, which is interesting that they had Pete Hines there because he's never been part of any presentation before. Like, any presentation. And technically, he's not even part of the same company. He's part of a sister company, Bethesda Softworks, to do the single-player Elder Scrolls games. They really have no, I'll say, affiliation other than the fact that they are sister companies under a parent company, ZeniMax Entertainment, or whatever it's called. So I thought that was a little weird. But that's what I thought. That was my 3 minutes. Thais, what about you?
I'm gonna have to ask you to repeat the question because you talked for a while and I forgot.
I took my 3 minutes.
That was more than 3 minutes.
Was it? All right. Just give me take a few minutes to give me your initial thoughts and reactions, like what you first felt when you heard the reaction to the buy to play and even console release, all of it.
I have played a lot of buy to play and free to play games, and my first thought when this went free to play was that is not going to go well. It is going to be a disaster. I'm hoping I'm wrong. I really do, because the game, the way it is, before it went free to play, it's a fantastic game, and the updates, and you can tell that they really listen to us, and I hope that doesn't change. I want them to still be listening to us and to take what we think into consideration. But I feel like with them going free to play,
it's not free to play, it's buy to play.
Buy to play. With it being buy to play, that we won't really matter as much. So I'm worried. I'm a little scared.
Okay.
But I guess we just kind of have to see.
Mm-hmm. Aloha, how about you? Give us a short synopsis of what you felt.
Oh, yes, I didn't talk it good at all. When I saw the first announcement on Twitter, I was like, it didn't surprise me because it was like, ha ha ha. And the first thing I was thinking, those guys mocked me with their dead horse picture. Right? Who is laughing now? But I was shocked, and not shocked, like it's surprised, like no, don't do this to us. And when I saw the live stream, it's exactly like you described. there was the manager leading the debates. With Paul and Matt Führer, which looked more like hostage than anything else. And I really felt what it was. They didn't want to do it, but they had to, and they were forced to do the best out of it. And they have no choice, because they needed, for me, it's not official, of course. For me, they needed to do it for the console release, and the console release is a lot more important than the PC release, because this is a all new market, and they have to go fully in it, otherwise they will be stupid, because they have a good opportunity to have a game there. And so I cannot be mad at them, because it all makes sense. And now all we have to do is to keep together as a community. But I can say that when I saw the stream, I felt a bit reassured. And so I calmed down, and I managed to see it more in the positive side. Not that I am happy about this change, I'm not happy at all, but I have to accept it, and I have to help to make it as good as possible. Now, by spreading positive vibes into the community instead of insulting the developers on the forum that are poor, innocent, and hostage from a business problem.
Okay. And Deltia, good sir, what was your initial reaction?
Well, my initial reaction was disappointment, and you feel like the game is over at that point. But it was buy to play, not free to play. That's a big deal for me. And they answered two questions that I had to know before I continued to play this game. Number one, is Cash Shop's item going to be sellable? They answered no. Huge. Number two, is it going to be more powerful? They answered that no. Huge. This is 2015. It is. It's not 1992 with Ultima Online. We're human beings. Anytime there's change, we're going to have an enormous gut reaction and go, oh my god, this is bad. This actually is probably good. It really probably is. Reason why is the subscription model, we like it because we pay our $15, happy doo-dah-day. There's no way to give the developer more money. There's literally no way. You can buy another account, you can buy some fluff online. That's a terrible business model. It would be like going to McDonald's and only getting a cheeseburger. You couldn't get another one. That's terrible from a business standpoint. Now they spend a little bit of time making cute little fluffy bunny things that we're all going to buy, like Guar mounts, and they get tons and tons of money. The downside of free-to-play or buy-to-play is that you typically think that the developers will change their premise and not develop content. But that's not true. Star Wars The Republic, which I bang on all the time, I got to give them props because they came out with player housing. They came out with a new entire Starfighter system, all these major content updates after it's gone free to play. So the original premise of they're never going to develop anything for me is BS, frankly. It's good for the game. It is. It's not good for PC game players. It's really not, and I'm going to explain why in a little bit. But my gut reaction was, oh, this is terrible. Then I watched the live stream, and yeah, they look like they didn't want to be there. I can understand why, because they have to eat their own words. But at the same time, survival is survival. Whether you're a human, whether you're a business, you have to do things, grow and evolve and change based on surviving, keeping your business alive, keeping your game alive. And buy to play is awesome. All those people that trashed in the game, played for 3 minutes and quit, can now come back for free. If they like the game, they can resub and get a little bit of benefit. If they don't, they can move on. And the way they're developing this game now, it's Skyrim with friends. The way I see it in the future, and after I've soaked in all week, it's Skyrim with friends. If you want to buy your content, you spend $10 on a DLC, you can play a little bit more. It's all going to be zoned and scalable. But for the hardcore PC players, it's probably time to move on. It frankly is. Because I don't see them developing any new PvE content for 9 months. But for the newer players, the casual, this game will be a juggernaut. It will be the World of Warcraft on consoles. Believe me, I'm telling you right here, it will be an absolute juggernaut.
All right. Well, let me before we move on with that, I do want to say some other things on here. I want to read a little bit of what people are saying in chat. The Dark Wiz one in chat, when he first heard the news, I wanted to be upset, but I can't shake the feeling that this is the best for the game. Hawk is talking about buying things in the Crown store. 84 horses in Lotro. Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, some people talk about difference between free to play and buy to play. Going, you have to buy the game versus free to play, which you can just download. And I agree with that. Now, the one thing I did want to also say, we'll talk about this as well. During the AMA Reddit for console release, now this is something that we were talking about, and this fits in with what Deltia was saying. For hardcore PC gamers, this very well may be the end of the road for you.
It's over.
Yeah. Because straight from the developer's mouth during... I'm not even going to go over the entire AMA because it was mostly just about consoles.
I have it on my site if you want to see it.
Yeah, check out deltiasgaming.com if you want to check out the whole AMA without reading through Reddit and all the questions they didn't answer. But straight from the developer's mouth, they were talking about with 1.6 coming out. Now, again, take note, this is January 25th, and it's going to... We'll just say, in theory, if it hits PTS Monday, even if it's on PTS for a month, it's going to come out early March, we'll say. They've said there is, and I quote, there will be no new content patches until console release, and in parentheses, or, quotation marks, settles down. The console release is not until June 9th, so even if best case scenario 1.6 drops in beginning of March, that is 3 months of, well, not including how long we've been on Update 5. How long have we been on Update 5? What was that, November?
It'll be 9 months.
I see.
9 months. So 9 months without any real... Because even when Update 6 comes, it'll change systems, yes. But there's no real content. So like the guild like Hodor, for instance, that already got essentially the premier achievement, which was Sanctum Ophidia speed run. That's like the hardest achievement to get in the game at the moment. They have it. So for 9 months, it'll be till, even if at console release they have a new patch that comes out, which we don't know how long it's going to take for console to settle down. We don't know. That's just a blanket term. But even if they release something day one, that's 9 months without new content. 9 months without meaty content to grab into. And this was one of the things that I took with buy to play. Now, I hate free to play games, the ones you just download, because they tend to bring a terrible community. The $20, $30 charge or whatever for the box does tend to keep out the Chinese gold farmers because they can't make a profit as easily. Flamers and stuff, again, $20 may not be a lot to some people, so you will still get the few D-holes that are out there, but not as many, because you still have to have some sort of monetary investment in order to get an account to flame people, and most people aren't willing to do that. I would rather just download League and make 900 accounts and flame people in chat. But even with the buy-to-play model, the one game that, and I'm enjoying it again, which is Guild Wars 2, is one of the first MMOs that I've played that came out as a buy-to-play. Now, it released as a buy-to-play. You bought the box. You never had to buy anything again. Now, they did have a cash shop in there. Great game for what it is. And it's exactly what Deltia said ESO is for casual players.
Yep.
Thais and I, we enjoyed the heck out of it. How long did it take? We got about 1,000 hours out of it or something like that, because we got 100% world completion in Guild Wars 2. I mean, I was working on my legendary weapon, which is hard to get, but the problem was ESO or Guild Wars 2 released in 2010, and I'm only giving this as an example, so please don't. I know ESO is not ZeniMax is not ArenaNet, but this is the best example that I have. It was released in 2010. They've had the same 6 dungeons since 2010.
Wasn't it released in
I think it's 2010 to be honest. Even so, even if it was 2012, it's 2015 now. 3 years with the same dungeons. They've done Live in Story, which was essentially a small quest chain. Think of a quest chain in ESO now that would be one of the story arcing quest chains, where you get a skill point. They release one of those every 2 weeks. Well, how long does that take you to finish in ESO? Deltia, how long does it take you to finish a quest chain that earns a skill point? An hour? 2 hours?
Yeah. Hour.
Not very long. So every 2 weeks you get maybe an hour worth of content. And that's it. Oh, I'm sorry. I was wrong. It is 2012. But even so, 3 years, and I think they did one dungeon. Every patch, you see one small quest chain and 10 gem store items.
I don't think it's going to be that. I really don't.
Then now, see, that was the fear I'm going into with buy-to-play games, because that's what it...
This is what I think, real quick, is that what's happened is we've beta tested this game for people for a year. The consoles are where the money's at, right? It's you pay an upfront fee, you have no sub. This is a perfect model for the consoles. So 80% of your player base, and I'm just throwing out numbers here, I'm just assuming, is going to be on consoles. They're starting brand new day one.
That's actually a fairly safe assumption based on Skyrim numbers.
But anyways,
9 million of them were on Xbox. So.
The point I'm trying to make is they're having the game brand new day one. There is an enormous amount of content for them. It's going to take them a year to catch up. The PC gamers, however, that's a different story. Now, what I think they're going to do, and I'll put a cartel coin on this. I mean a crown coin, sorry.
Which you can't trade, by the way.
Thank God. Because that would be a whole new... I would quit if that was the case. Another thing is, you know what they're going to do? They are going to slip 1.7 Imperial City in a DLC. Guarantee it. That's going to be the next thing after the consoles. Because what could get people to come back to this game and spend $10? It would be Imperial City. So I say 9 months, but I'm telling you, I think they'll slip something in around that time frame. Because how long have they been developing Imperial City? Atrobos played it like in beta. The Imperial City. He's seen it.
In October, I think he said, and it looked almost complete, yeah.
So guess what? That problem with buy-to-play is that they hold content back for DLC. And you know they're doing that with Imperial City. It's their trump card to get people back in. But, Can
I interrupt you right here, Delty? Because I want to ask Aloha, because she's been kind of quiet. Given the theory, which is what we're kind of seeing here, and Deltia, I agree with you on this. They've been showing us stuff since... that looked fairly complete, Imperial City, spell crafting. I mean, they already had a plan in place. They showed them playing. I don't know how far along that was, but they showed us a bunch of stuff.
Jewel crafting,
things like that they showed us. Do you believe personally that this stuff, let me rephrase this. Do you believe that ZeniMax made the decision that we're going buy-to-play and the developers have been holding content on us?
No. What I think is that that's what exactly I think, and I want to be clear. It's my opinion. I have no proof, and so I'm not claiming it's true. It's just my opinion. They wanted to keep the game as pay to play. They wanted to hold their promises. They wanted to release the console. I think they announced it for June last year, if I remember well. Then they had a problem with Microsoft, and I think that's Microsoft that caused the change. And from then, at the moment they could not make the contract with Microsoft to release on console, they had to make this buy-to-play model. But this is not something that you improvise in 2 days or even in 2 months, because you need to change the whole game and how you release content and what kind of content you do. And I think that everything that is made now, that has been made, the change, is a preparation for the buy-to-play model, the champion system. It's a mixture between the feedback of the PC players and what they had to do to make their buy-to-play model. Like, for instance, the dungeon scaling. I think that it was a sort of test to see how the scaling will go into the download pack.
Yep.
They had to to see if it was working, how the players will react to it, if technologically it was. But that was not the stuff they had planned, because when it was the beta, I remember so many players saying, we want scaling like in Guild Wars 2, it's nicer to play with your friends, blah, 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 blah. And there was, no, we believe that leveling is important. And now in the EVA, the Reddit thingy, they've said, we think that leveling is a story of the past. And ZeniMax have made so much decision afterwards. And if they have taken those decisions, it's like a correction decision. They have corrected their game constantly from bad decision or mistake or stuff that were not working like they wanted it in the first place. And this game could have been so much better if they had taken all those decisions in advance at the very start when they created their game, and they could have made the game that we really wanted, which would have been more this Skyrim online with this exploration, etc. While now I'm getting a bit too out of subject. So
No. This is perfect, Elo, because I actually wanted to talk about this as well. Elder Scrolls Online versus Skyrim Online.
It is going to be Skyrim. Okay, Elder Scrolls Online is doing dungeons, being a hardcore MMO, having hard content. Skyrim Online is exploring, dinking around, doing quests. And end of story. That's what they're gearing this towards. Mm-hmm. I mean, now look at the Reddit AMA. What did they say new content's going to be? It's going to be scalable. Now, why would they want to make scalable content? So casual players and everyone can enjoy it. I think this is great personally for the game. It's not for the 1%ers.
Thaís, what do you think about this? ESO going from more like, because they've always said, even like in their manifesto, they talked about ESO. And I know. Hold on. I know. It seems kind of crazy. Like, oh my goodness, they went back on their manifesto. Manifesto was that this would be an MMO and an Elder Scrolls game. They were trying to bridge the gap. But with this change to buy to play and the 9 months between content that MMO players seem to enjoy, the game seems to be shifting closer, as what Deltia says, Skyrim Online, which is Elder Scrolls with multiplayer versus an actual MMO. What are your feelings on that?
Trying to bridge the gap, I feel like, was a bad idea because they're trying to do so much at once, and I think that's what kind of threw people off at first was, well, it's not really an MMO and it's not really a single player, and they tried and then they did well, but
now they're going back.
Changing now. I mean, if it does well for the game, then why not? I mean, the rest of us are probably sad. You know, I'm sad that they went back on it, but in the long run, if it does well, it doesn't really matter what they originally said.
Yeah, good point. Well, yeah, I mean, I think for the majority of people that play this game, this will be an awesome change. Scalable content, I mean, imagine doing that new zone they showed with, like, scalable, so you can do it with your level 13 buddy and your VR 14. This is perfect. For the people, the Hodars of the world, this is terrible news. This is absolutely terrible. For, like, all my friends are talking about it that are all hardcore gamers. They're like, well, what are we going to do? Are you going to do dailies? You're going to get all your gear. PvEers, there's nothing to do. PvP, I think, is a whole different animal. I really do. And I think Imperial City, we're still holding on to that nugget. And Cyrodiil is so big, so complex, it's basically a sandbox element. And one more thing. Cypher, you guys may know him. He's one of the best PvP builders. And I watched his video on the thoughts about it. He brought up a really good point. If ZOS focuses on PvP sandbox stuff, like whether it's, you know, Imperial City or something that, you know, duels, an arena system, that's going to keep people's attention for very, very long with little development time.
Yeah, but I need to react to that. First, I don't think that it's the end of the content for hardcore PvE players. It will be a huge stagnation for 9 months. But after that, I believe that they will come back with new content. But we need to understand that the real launch is in June from now. And so for us, we have already played the game for 1 year, but we will only have the next part when they will give the next part to the console player. So they will not give them a new content in July. That would be stupid. They will give new content in September and then maybe November and something like that. But I believe that they will release new trials and new challenging content for PvE players, but maybe not immediately. Now, the other things I wanted to say concerning the PvP stuff, you're right, Deltia, but I think the majority of the players don't give a shit about PvP. I will not spend my life into Zero Deal because I don't care. I don't care about slapping the face of other people. And most of the players that play Skyrim, that was the first mistake Zenimax made. Zenimax started the Elder Scrolls Online project with several guys from Dark Age of Camelot. They wanted to recreate Dark Age of Camelot in Tamriel, and I don't even know why, because there is no reason that Skyrim players will be interested more than that into PvP.
I disagree with that point, but go ahead.
I think that of course there's a lot of players that play Skyrim that also enjoy PvP, but most part of it are people that just enjoy stories and they want to do their dungeon crawling and stuff like that. And that's when they realize that they will not satisfy the player base with just Cyrodiil, because they create all their game around these three alliance. And after that, they had to come up with cheap solution to find activities for PvE players. That's when they came with silver and gold questing for the PvE player to keep them busy. That's how they came with the veteran version of the normal dungeon, which is, except City of Ash, just the same dungeon but with different bosses. And they had to go fast, and then they came up with the Craglorn ID, and they had to just one adventure zone with 3 trial, and that was all they made for the PvE players. And they realized that there's a huge part of the community that's what they want. And I think that at the start they really thought that Cyrodiil will be the central activity of everyone, but that's not the case. Voilà, I'm done.
Well, it may not be the case for you, but a lot of people do enjoy it.
Yes, but I don't think it's the majority or as much as they thought it will be.
I don't think it is either, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree.
I really don't. I don't think Cyrodiil is the... And Thace, you were saying that the one thing that you really liked was...
when this was, a few minutes ago. Back when we played Skyrim, we were really big into Skyrim. I remember searching for an add-on, because there had been one in development that would have allowed us to play Skyrim together. And I was really excited about it. It turns out it didn't work. So ESO coming out and kind of being like, Skyrim with friends, as Deltia is saying, was really big for us because it allowed us to play in the world that was similar to Skyrim together, to venture through the world and to explore and to be able to do the quests.
But then I think that loads in. I think the majority, and with what Aloha said, I really don't think most people give a crap about PvP. The people coming in from Xbox, I really don't think Cyrodiil will be...
Not coming in, but it will be once they get a taste of it.
Perhaps.
Look, Destiny, Call of Duty, those things are enormous on
but why not just play those?
Well, why does someone play Call of Duty then play Destiny? Why wouldn't they just play the same series? That's to answer your same question.
I don't know why anyone would play Destiny. So
that's irrelevant. But you play PvP.
The PC gamers, there really is they are different. So I can see the console gamers really enjoying the PvP.
And most of the time, I would think that as well. But the fans, this console players that I think that would enjoy the PvP, the Destinies, the Call of Duty people probably would not be interested in the type of game that Skyrim was. I mean, just the mentality is different between those two genres by quite a large margin. I really don't see how Skyrim is anything like any of those other ones.
Well,
at
not
all.
necessarily Skyrim, but the number one PvPer in the world right now, guess what game he came from? Call of Duty.
Hearthstone.
Call of
Could
Duty.
swore it was Hearthstone.
Nope, the one with the most AP. What do? He led a group to victory. There's nothing like that in the world that you can get. Whether it's this game, whether it's another game, it's something about it, and it will attract a lot of people. It will. Now, initially, you guys are definitely right. Skyrim people will go, oh, what's PvP when I could just, go pick flowers for 15 hours? But it's going to be a large part of the game. And think about the development time. It's already out there. There's really nothing to do besides taking bugs and little deer away. It's a huge, awesome environment for people that's sandboxy. I wish they'd have more sandbox stuff in this game.
I think that's one of the biggest problems with ESO at the moment. And I hate pure sandbox games.
Yeah, pure sandbox, yeah.
But having a theme park with sandbox elements, and like you said, Cyrodiil is a sandbox element. They need to have more of that in the PvE side as well.
Yeah.
But I think that's why some of the PvE community... But other than the Skyrim people, after you finish the quests, there's nothing to do. Because without... At this point, we have a PvE environment that is a theme park, a solo theme park. That's all it is. It's a theme park that doesn't get any new rides.
Yeah.
That's what we're seeing right now. And honestly, as I said to the fans who are, here, we'll go until they prove us right or wrong. They're not making a good step. I'll say that right now. And I don't want to be super negative because I do love the game and I really hope I'm wrong. But based on what their AMA said about no new content, guys, you got to admit they're not making a good step for especially the PvE players like myself and Thais and Hodors and the Tamriel Foundry, Entropy Rising Guild, stuff like that, who like that hardcore theme park raiding, if you will, or dungeons and stuff like that. They don't have it.
No.
And even if this is what's even worse, and I understand PvPers will probably hate me for saying this, but you have PvP. That's enough. And I mean, it's not really, but you make your game, okay? You make your game going out and killing people.
Yeah.
If Deltia is right with 1.7 Imperial City comes out, and that's mostly, you have to go into a PvP zone to do it. If it's mostly PvP, that's even longer than 9 months that the PvEers will have no new content to do. And I know PvPers are like, yeah, but don't forget about us. And I mean, you shouldn't forget about them, but the difference between you guys and the PvEers who are in it for the theme park, you guys make your content. We have to wait for it to be made for us.
That's completely true. That's completely true.
Yeah, the other day I was thinking about how the Elder Scrolls Online could have been if the right decision had been taken at the right time. If ZeniMax had not focused everything at the start on Cyrodiil and thought that every player would want to spend their endgame in Cyrodiil. If their buy-to-play model with the scaling content, little zone by little zone were downloadable, etc. They could have made the game exactly like we wanted. No alliance enforced, so we will have the whole world to access and to quest in. The main quest will have been by zones, and you will have local zone, but you will also have some quests that will, like the Mage Guild or some exploration quests that will bring you through the whole world, like in Skyrim, where players could travel, because there is no more leveling into the zone, so they can just travel. We will have the champion system starting early, and not just for the end game. And so that will have been the progression with the skill line and everything. They will have so much possibility of more exploration, more openness, more choice, more quests. It will have fit more the image of what the players firstly imagine that the Elder Scrolls Online will have been. And then you will have got your Cyrodiil in the middle, and you will have been able to make a quest to hire yourself and to swear allegiance to one side or another and go into Cyrodiil and fight for it if you want it or not. And you will have all dungeon at your disposal, and instead of making progression with level. You could have made regional resistance. For instance, in Skyrim, you need a warm armor to face the cold, and in Alakir Desert, you need to wear silk clothes to face the sand winds and stuff like that. And in the jungle, you have your poison resistance armor. And if you do the Undaunted test dailies and you level in the Undaunted faction, then you have a super armor set with all resistance, and then you can do all dungeon at once. The whole game would have been so different if all the evolution had been taken at the start. So that's just fantasy, of course.
How many times have the fans said that they wanted dueling and arenas? A lot. And they had said that, if the players want it, we'll give it to them. And we keep saying that these are things that we want.
But
they'll give it to us for $10.
Yeah, I'm like, when does what we want? This is what concerns me. Things like this, they did say, and Ace made a good point. Back in the day, they did say things that we want, they would consider adding. Anytime I ever go on the forums, all I see is, when are we going to get dueling? When are we going to get, arena stuff like? We don't even have that they're working on it. Like, they've at least said to me that they're working on housing. Oh yeah, it's something we want to add. Nothing about the other stuff.
Well,
do you feel like this is going to be, and this is what concerns me, when does what the players want, like dueling, stuff like that, they're like, these are systems in the game. This is a problem. Because they already said systems would be free. You can't make money that way. Systems would be free. When does adding arenas and dueling into the game, for instance, outweigh the sparkle ponies?
Well, it's all about money. If people are buying sparkle ponies, they're going to make sparkle ponies. But
right.
At the same point, I'm super excited about this change. Let me get that straight, because I really think this benefits the game. It benefits me personally, and the selfish person in me, and my website and stuff like that. It's enormous for my website. But for the game, I'm just warning those people out there that are the 1%ers that have 4 VR14s. We're all starting different characters again because we're completely bored out of our minds because we've done everything. But it
will be for the next couple months at least.
But it's like Eloa said, they're essentially relaunching the game. And that's really the way I see it. So I bang on Star Wars all the time. But the thing is, if they can make $10 on a Sparkle Pony, screw it. As long as they keep giving me systems every once in a while. And I always bang on Star Wars, but I got to give them some credit. They did do the huge Galactic Starfighter. They did do the huge player housing. This game's only been around not even a year yet, and it's had all this stuff. So it's relaunching the game, I think, and there's still going to be a long way to get till endgame. I think most of the players will be happy with this, but for the meaty, like 1%ers that are hardcore, they play a million different alts, they spend 10 hours a day doing PvE stuff. I hate to tell you to look for a different game, but at the same time, if you're not into PvP and you like that PvE theme park rating, it's done.
Yeah. And that's my fear, because that's what I do.
Yeah, but you haven't experienced it yet.
Not in this game.
But you haven't experienced it yet. I'm saying it's done for 9 months, not forever.
Now, the problem is, once I hit max level, that's all I do.
Well, you'll have 9 months of that to do. Believe me, you're 9 months behind. I'm saying that once you get there, right now, the amount of content they have, if you're brand new to this game, brand new to Endgame, is a lot.
Yeah, but with that being said, Deltia, you also know, based on the amount of people who've already done it, the learning phase is over.
True.
I can hop into Warcraft right now because I haven't been playing. And what's their raid right now? High Mall?
Yes.
I could hop in there, level a character to 100, and the first people progressing through it probably took weeks to do it. I could probably get into a group and essentially get carried through it. So that content is done for me.
Getting carried through it and then actually getting the gear and learning it yourself are two different things. So I think you're undervaluing that. Getting through, I think you're.
As a raider, though, with a raiding background, it doesn't take me long to learn a fight. So
you might be able to learn it in 5 seconds, but that doesn't mean you're going to complete it over and over every night. Because guess what? Who's going to be left to carry you through it?
Yeah, especially if everyone else leaves. But then if I'm waiting on casuals, I'm going to be bored anyway because no one's ready to. Everyone's like, I'm just going to pick flowers. Well,
Well,
screw Veteran Dragon Star Arena then.
one more thing though, Thais brought up a really good point. Is like when we first started playing this game, I think it wasn't enough Skyrim for us, and it wasn't enough MMO for us. Then it became more MMO than Skyrim, and now it's going back to more Skyrim than MMO. That's how I see it. What do you guys think?
And I agree with you there, and Days, I think you agree with that as well. But do you not see the issue with
You're talking
back and forth?
I see the issue with it. I definitely do. I think there was a huge hiccup with Microsoft, and that's what took everything.
And I was going to say, the consoles, people are like, oh, there shouldn't be any subscription on console. I agree with what Aloha said, too. Microsoft probably is the one that,
boogered it up.
Bone in the gear. Because Final Fantasy XIV has been on PS3 and is a sub-game. It's now on PS4. It's a sub-game. They don't care if you have to pay PS Plus. They're like, buy it on PC then. You pick one or the other. Sony didn't have an issue. It was probably Microsoft that's like, yeah, you know what? Because I think even Sony was like, you don't really need PS Plus to play Final Fantasy XIV or Realm Reborn. They actually said you don't need PS Plus to play Elder Scrolls Online. You don't.
Well, I'm
Microsoft is the one that's like, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Screw them. But I'm super excited about the game's future overall. I really am, and leveling the character again, just even now, before even 1.6 hits, it's a brand new game, dude. Like, the amount of stuff, like getting crafting writs at level 5, it's like, it's just so much more involved. Like, when we get 1.6 polished, and these people get it, this game will have so much depth in it to start. The problem is, it's just... I think the PC gamers are, bad reference here, are the redheaded stepchild of this game from now on.
Sure. No, I agree. I totally agree. All right.
Yeah, but...
I'm sorry, Lo. Go ahead.
No, I mean, it's maybe a little bit sad for us PC gamers to be the second zone client now, but when you think about what
it makes sense.
The Elder Scrolls Online will be for the console.
It makes 100% sense.
Yeah, we discussed that with Deltia some days ago. That will be so huge. The first super awesome MMO on console. They don't have so much choice. So it will be one of the futures, and it's a super solid game with a lot of content. It's gorgeous. It's fun. We have played it. And I was seeing their presentation of the console. I'm not a console player. I don't have a console. I don't have a television. I have not the money to buy it. But I was so excited for them to imagine this new social experience. You're going in a delve with your character in your sofa and your blankets, and you're all like that. You have cut the light in your room, and then suddenly there's someone else, and you're, hey guys, can you help me to kill the boss? Yes, let's go. Oh, blah blah blah. It will be awesome. It can be the new World of Warcraft for console, which is something that will never be done ever on a PC again. No PC game can be in World of Warcraft, but on the console it's possible.
100% agree with you. 100%. This game will be transformative, especially if they have that inner voice chat built into it. I think we undervalue how important that is, and I'm really excited about the game. I've said it a million times. I may bang on the fluffy bunny ponies and stuff like that, but when I saw that Guar mount during our ESO viewing party, I lost my shit. And I'm sorry you have to bleep that out. I lost it.
Yes.
I was like, I will buy 10 of them goddamn thing. I will donate plasma to get that. I will sell a kidney to get these costumes. I'll go to prostitution. I don't care. I'm getting those costumes.
I'm just gonna have to edit that entire sentence out.
When I saw the Gormon, I say, oh, a daddy for standing the red circles. I need to have it. And I say, oh my god, I'm so corruptible. I slap at me a little bit.
Yeah, tell me you didn't lose it when you saw that. You lost it.
I cool off immediately. Oh yeah.
All right.
But I think that for now, the PC players will be stuck in a swamp of no new content for a long time, which personally, don't bother me. I'm still veteran 5 and I still have everything to do and I still have not leveled another alt. So for me, it doesn't pose a problem. And for my guilds, mostly except one guy who have ton of alts, most of the people are as slow as me, and so we will have the time to discover all the content, and we are behind everyone else anyway, so it's not a big deal. But for people like Deltia, it's of course a little bit annoying. But if the revenue are kicking ass with the console, we will beneficiate from it
True.
too later. And all of this and more, this game is successful. May it be on console, or may it be by selling gore and wedding dress. It doesn't matter, because that will make money for the company, and the developers will produce more content, and it will be faster, and it will be better quality. When you remember how World of Warcraft was at the start, it didn't have so much success, and it was very little update and etc. And then it became bigger, and there was more fancy stuff, and then an armory, and then a blah blah, and then a this thingy, and all of this can come up if the game is getting money. So it's not bad for us.
To end this off, I did want to say one more thing, because I think we've beat this one around for a little bit, and Guiden in chat, and I really like this, is like, it's great that the game may become a true hit on console, but it will be at the expense of all the PC players. Now, to say that, and I do agree, and I love the game, and yeah, we may benefit in the long run, but the issue is consoles have 3 MMOs currently that I know of to play: Final Fantasy XIV, Destiny, if you really count Destiny, and 2B ESO. They have 2. There's a handful of MMOs coming out, for PC. EverQuest Next, Crowfall. There's a bunch of different ones that are coming in the horizon. Will ESO, and maybe they don't, maybe ZeniMax doesn't care about us. We just got done beta testing their game for 9 months. But maybe they don't care. Will we reap the benefits before the PC gamers move on?
No.
Yeah, that's
the blunt. That's the blunt answer.
This world, I love the lore. Other than Tolkien, it's like my second favorite fantasy world, so I have a vested interest in this game. But will this buy-to-play transition benefit PC players in enough time before they move on? And I kind of want to end it as a question there to let people think about it. Is it worth losing all the PC players for all the console?
I wouldn't say
what
all.
What will happen to the community? And the reason why I say what will happen to the community is most of the people that I know that built this great community, most of the people who sent me messages, we're all in the PC community. All right.
We are not dead yet.
We're not dead yet, and we're holding on, but will it be enough to hold us on long enough before moving on?
It's a good question.
Just let that, we'll end the discussion at that, let you think about it. And that question is a good question to end on, because it changes from player to player. People like Deltia, probably the answer is a dead hard no.
Dead, but for me personally, no. But yeah, people like me.
But people like
they're already looking. They're already looking for different games.
Yeah, the casuals, I don't care. I'll wait around.
They're like, cool, gore mount.
Yeah, I like the gore mount. There. So think about it, and think about that question for you as a player. Is it enough to hold you out? All right, we're gonna move on to our next section, which is the Tales of Tamriel. These times we have no tales, because we've had no internet for a week. That was rough.
That was.
I had to live vicariously through people tweeting about ESO. So that's what I did. But Aloha, how about you go first? Tell us what you did this week, and then Deltia, you'll go after. And I'm really interested to hear about your Emperor run.
Oh, okay.
Well, this week I mostly focused on making 2 videos. One video summarized the last ESO Live, the ESO Live 9, and the second one was the ESO Live special. So it's just a short summary. And in game, I continued my adventure in Gradwood. I finished the zone, and it's a zone I really like. I realized that I prefer the Almeri Dominion zone, actually. I really enjoy the atmosphere, the jungle team, and Kinnerty Roots is my favorite zone so far, but Gradwood, there was really cool quest in it. I really liked it. There was this Argonian quest. You have not been in Almeri Dominion zone yet, right?
Aggelos.
Aggelos?
We are not in the Almari Dominion Zone yet, but I did play it during beta pretty extensively because I didn't want to play the AD zones, or not the AD zones, the EP zones. So I think I played all the way through, not the last zone, Malibu Tour maybe? I can't remember what it was.
Okay.
Like 2 or 3 zones in.
Yeah, because I didn't want to spoil you the fun.
Go ahead.
But yes, it's a Argonian. I think about you, and I think I've sent the screenshots saying that I've think about this quest because it was such a nice Argonian quest of exiled Argonian in the Bosmer land and trying to survive there and to be accepted, and this was really interesting. And for a moment, I had to gorp it. So that was cool. I took a screenshot of that too. But yeah, and now I've started Green Shade, and I also really like the atmosphere of it. It's very summery, hot, warm, nice. So that's about it. I've done some dungeon with my guild, some fishing in Cyrodiil with my guild, and that's about it.
All right. And Deltia, how about you, good sir?
Oh, I'm back. Sorry, I had to use the restroom. So as far as what I've been doing the last couple weeks, I had the Emperor run 2 weeks ago, and that went good and bad. I mean, obviously I didn't get it. I learned a lot about how to get AP, group dynamics, playing solo, and how you really get Emperor. It's not the way you think it is, unfortunately. It's not by like who's the best player and that sort of thing. You can do it 2 ways, I found out. One, which is the easiest way, get a really powerful group together that knows what the hell they're doing and kill everyone. Do you do that with basically, that's how the good players get Emperor, most of them, with a group, is they just go around and one person's home there, the rest of the team is not, and then all they do is just farm people for the entire night. Monday when it flips, get all the inner keeps, boom, you're Emperor. So that's a good way to do it if you have 20 people that are really powerful. If you don't, you can play solo. But the way you have to do it solo is essentially follow the Zerg around, heal, and repair walls. If you repair walls and sit there and do that over and over and over, you will become Emperor on a dead server. That's how people are doing it. And about day 4 or so, I quit just because I was tired and crabby and playing that much. It wasn't fun. It became really, really, really not fun. And so I stopped doing that. But I learned a lot. I learned a lot about group play, a lot more about my class and skills. And really that I had no clue on the overall dynamics of Cyrodiil. Meaning, where's the proper way to siege a keep? Why do you go on this door versus that door? What's the point of using a fire ballista versus a trebuchet? How can you do a 20-20 split? I mean, all these things I was learning on the fly. So it was kind of an arrogant perspective to think I would just come in there and nuke everyone and no one else would, come and rain on my parade. Because believe me, there was quite a few trolls trying to smash me. And that's okay. It was a good learning experience. Overall, I'm going to wait until I have, a really dynamic, powerful team that we've worked together before. Because if you haven't worked together, you're going to get nuked. I mean, you can't just throw 10 VR14s together and go, okay, you're going to wreck everyone. You can't. Some of those teams have been playing for a year or more, and not only in this game. So, got smashed, but I learned a lot, and I still love PvP. Second week, which is basically this week, I've just been covering all the latest news and stuff, what's been going on. I completely overhauled my website, made it a lot easier to find the content, because that was one of the problems with it. So if you haven't visited my site, deltiasgaming.com, it's a great time to do it. I got a lot of new player guides out, so people that are just joining the game or want to come back, it's a great time to check it out. And what else did I do? Oh yeah, started a character. So I started a character named Deltia the Wildfire, a Dunmer Dragonite. Vampire pretty soon. I figured if I'm going to transfer to consoles, I am going to be the most overpowered ding dong there is. And people say racial don't matter very much. BS.
Because of the Dragon Knight.
BS. Dunmer Dragonite. It's just it's incredibly powerful. So I started that over. The reason being I want to catalog all my progress throughout the game. So make some like how-to videos, some gameplay videos. People always ask, what skills do you lose 10 to 20? Well, I don't know because I haven't been there before. So I thought this was a good time because there's really not a whole lot of stuff coming out for us to do, like what I've said over and over and over. So for right now, that's what I'm working on. And next week will be a lot of PTS.
Awesome. Definitely, I know I'm going to be hopping on the PTS as well.
Yep.
All right, guys. It's time for what I know a lot of people have been waiting for, and that is the dramatic reading. Because I feel like we're doing a book today. A book that people have been wanting for a while.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
So this week we are doing the Lusty Argonian Maid, Volume 1. Now, as I said, we have something special planned for this particular thing because people have been waiting for a while for this, Days being sick and things like that. So we haven't been able to do it. We haven't progressed into the books as fast as we wanted. So we have a little something special. So what would that be exactly?
Well, yours truly will be playing Lifts Her Tail. I'll be reading that section, and Ag will be reading the male section, which is Crentius Colto.
So we have a little duo here.
Yes.
I will say, this is a family show, and if you've not read The Lusty Argonian Maid before, it's a little suggestive.
A little?
So, if you have impressionable children, you may want to not let them listen to this. It's not real long, but it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, the kids don't know what's going on, but you do. So, all right. Let's go ahead and we'll take it away with the Lusty Argonian Maid, Volume 1.
Act 4, Scene 3, continued. Certainly not, kind sir. I am here but to clean your chambers.
Is that all you've come here for, little one? My chambers?
I have no idea what it is you imply, master. I am but a poor Argonian maid.
So you are, my dumpling, and a good one at that. Such strong legs and shapely tail.
You embarrass me, sir.
Fear not. You are safe here with me.
I must finish my cleaning, sir. The mistress will have my head if I do not.
Cleaning, eh? I have something for you. Here, polish my spear.
But it is huge. It could take me all night.
Plenty of time, my sweet. Plenty of time.
End scene.
That was Volume 1 of The Lusty Argonian Maid. So come back next week for Volume 2.
That was awesomely reads. Really.
Yeah, so Argonians.
I almost lost it when you got
When I got to the spear.
Yeah, I love the interpretation of the character. Really well done.
Well, we wanted to do something special because a lot of people were interested in this book. They wanted to hear us, and I was like, I think it'd be kind of fun if we did it like a play.
Because everyone that listens to the show knows how awesome I am at doing male voices.
I thought it would be interesting, so I suggested it to Thais last week. I said, I know the lore books are your section, but I have an idea. Since it's written as a play, what if we act it out?
It's a good idea. That was good.
So we'll be doing that again for Volume 2 next week.
Oh, awesome.
Right. All right, we're going to go ahead and we're going to move on to the Guild Corner. And for the Guild Corner, obviously for those who don't know, Wings of Fate which is the Tales of Tamriel Community Guild, is a trade guild now. And, that way you can hang out with some of the community members, chat with us and stuff like that, and also kind of make sure there's a benefit to being in the guild. So we're vying for different trade posts in the world. And one of the ways that we do this is through a weekly guild raffle where people donate 1,000 gold into the guild bank, or they send it to myself, whatever, and that earns them one ticket. They can do it as many times as they want. And what we do is we randomly take all the names and we use random number generator. I throw it on a spreadsheet that everyone can find, and you can see where you're in there. And we pick one random winner, and that winner gets 30% of the total amount of gold earned. This week, we have raised 63,000 gold, so the winner will receive almost 19K. So not a bad thing. We had 63 tickets bought, and I'm gonna go to good old handy random.org. Random. There we go. I'll get it. All right. And as I said, what we do is I just have a spreadsheet. You can find it on talesoftamriel.com/guild. There's a link to the spreadsheet so you can see that your ticket was indeed added. They're added in order as I receive the tickets, so you'll notice like not all your names are together. I'll just put in here it's between cell 2 and 64 today, and the result is 11. All right, back to the handy dandy spreadsheet. Number 11 is Shabib. Shabib, congratulations, sir. I will send you the money as soon as I get in the game. Congratulations, man. You win. Yay. Remember, we do this every week. Every Sunday after we announce a winner, the new guild raffle starts. We announce a winner once we hit 50K, so some weeks are longer than others. Depends until we hit 50K. If you need a trade guild and you want to hang out with us, send a whisper to myself. That's at Aggelos, Aggelos, or pretty much anyone in the guild. If you know someone else is in the guild, anyone can invite. So if you have friends, you want to bring them in, great. All right. As I go back, excuse me. All right, let's move on to our emails. We had quite a few emails, like 3, and they're all fairly long. So please go ahead and read through these.
All right, this one is from Asteldian. Oh, isn't that the the
British
guy?
guy, yes.
British guy, yes. Oh, wonderful. Hey, Ag and Thais. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. I hope you had a great time. I'm catching up on the podcasts and have reached 48. I haven't listened to 49, so this may be obsolete. But after hearing 48, I thought I would throw my thoughts in. You guys seemed a bit depressed, so I wanted to throw some potential positivity for you. Now, obviously I have no idea what will happen, but here are some reasons why free-to-play may not be inevitable. 6-month sub has stopped, yet those already on it get to stay and repeat pay. If free-to-play was the reason for removing it, those on it should be bumped down. Going free-to-play is no reason to stop 6-month subs. With the subs they can get some more money short term, then buy off those with remaining sub duration with pay for currency, which costs nothing, especially as those loyal enough to be on the 6-month subs are the ones most likely to leave come free to play, so they won't even spend what they get. 3. Not sure Rift did get rid of 6-month subs, quite the opposite. They convinced us to buy a year sub to get the expansion free, then went free to play a few months later. Heck, you could argue they scammed us, as they must have known they would go free to play. Silence from Zos. Back when rumors about console cancellation were going about, Bethesda's PR guy stated, "We have not announced a release date. Beyond that, I can't comment, as we don't comment on rumors and speculation." From day one, they have ignored all rumors, and that policy has not changed, so silence is par for the course. Not to mention, any denial will be pointless, as people won't believe them anyway. You guys mentioned other games that removed 6-month sub. They all also stood up and said, "We're not going free to play, don't worry." At least by staying quiet, they are already doing something different to the other games. 5. The flimsy excuse for removing 6 months. It is a valid excuse, but they only gave part of the story to prevent anger from customers. It is not a popular choice. The full reason would be, it is not a popular choice, therefore we can get rid of it without any real anger from customers. Note anger, not fear, in order to make more money from future customers. See point 6 below. 6. ZOS are very likely about to announce free trials, probably on the ESO Live on Friday, 16th of January. First for customers who bought, then canceled their sub, then no doubt to the wider world. They are also getting ready for console release. Combining this, their hope is for an influx of players. With this bunch of new players, the longest sub available is 3 months. They won't mind the 6-month not being an option because it was gone before they came to sub, so no reason to raise complaints. That means more money coming in.
This was, of course, written to us prior to the news coming out, and obviously we know what they had planned. You know, they're going buy to play now, and you know, I think we already kind of beat that like a dead horse. You know, like a hooker in Grand Theft Auto, we beat it pretty bad.
Wow, dark.
I know, I went there. But like I said, well, all we can hope is they let us keep the subs. We hope people who love the game will stay with the game and sub, and that will be enough money to, you know, keep the content we like. We hope. So that's our thoughts. I mean, you can listen to all of our episode and you'll hear them. Next up.
Oh, I'm gonna cry reading this one. Arcaneer, greetings! I hope you're all doing great and feeling great. You guys reached episode 50, so there are a few things that I'd like to say. Thank you! Really, thank you guys for the past year. This show and this community means a lot to me, which is why my subscription is still on. Not that ESO is a bad game, ESO is amazing, but I'm not an MMORPG player. I can't stick to a game this long normally. Anyway, this past year has been really stressful for me. A lot of stuff combined and kept punching me like a Norn whom had his share of need. And adding insomnia to that, I really felt down from time to time. But whenever I reached a point where I felt like I was losing it, this show and the community somehow supported me back to sanity. Either on Twitter, in the guild, during show, or even random people in-game. I mean, of course my friends do that too, but when someone from the other part of the world, someone from the community that I am also a part of does it, it really matters, whether knowingly or not. So first of all, I especially want to thank you, Thais. Your voice is a calm spell enchantment, and the reading part is one of the few things that can actually lower, even remove my stress and my anger. Last couple of weeks were extremely stressful, and it was really amazing for you to be there to do the dramatic reading. Favorite part of the show, so thank you. And thank you, Ag and Deltia. You guys are amazing. You two are the reason that I somehow got to be a part of this community. You guys are a great mentor and friend, so thanks. Stay amazing. Well, the fact that Deltia is an AD kind of damages the amazingness, but well, lol. And for the community, if this is being read in the show, thank you all for being awesome. Stay awesome. To all those people listening right now, please applaud yourselves. Applaud, cheer. Well, this was from the guy who just survived finals and hasn't slept for over 36 hours, so please excuse any excusable thing. Is that a word? That is a word. I'm just glad that I'm part of this community. Keep being awesome and blood for the pact!
Blood for the pact. Arcaneer is like a great friend of the show. Awesome guy. Love him to death.
I have like raging pregnancy hormones, and it was so hard not to cry.
I think you had those raging hormones prior to pregnancy.
Oh, that's
because isn't that anytime you watch a movie, you're like, it almost made me cry. I'm like, what doesn't make you cry?
That is your normal comment.
Arcaneer is fantastic. I know he was one of the people who convinced me to keep the show going amongst a multitude of others, but like pretty much day one, he was messaging me right off the bat. I definitely value his friendship. He's a great guy. And he actually has 2 websites, Arcaneer's Quest and Gamer's Compendium. You should check them out. They were really neat. And he wanted to be part of the community. And that's what he's doing to be part of it. He's amazing. You should check him out. Next up.
Next is from Courtney J. You and all the great people that share their experiences on the podcast should stick around during this time of Tamriel in transition and keep us informed. I, probably like you, sank in my seat upon hearing the news. I was approached by a coworker yesterday and he said, ESO is going free to play. Well, this was said by a WoW player, And I at first thought I was having my chain yanked, but he kept his straight face, and I knew he wasn't lying, and I entered a state of blue funk for the rest of the day. Regardless, I play this game not to criticize the state of development or play, but for how much enjoyment I am getting out of it. I am getting $15 a month of enjoyment out of it. If I wasn't, you wouldn't be receiving this email. I don't appreciate how I have been led to believe that this game would be pay to play, or would not exist as I believe ZeniMax has said. However, we are the end users of a business product, and not the real habitants of a world called Tamriel, and thus are prone to those business decisions they make to try to keep the product afloat as long as possible. Personally, even as bad of a player I am, I would like to see a few more bodies running around. I want to see that Cyrodiil be made a priority for entry to those who pay the subs.
In other words.
Oh, in other words, priority access to the front of the queue when one exists. Second, who was the cheapskate at ZeniMax who came up with the 100 crowns per month